Misses his first one. And the second. Tyron Beatty with the rebound. Up to Scoop Jardine. I love that name, Scoop Jardine, don't you?
One of the best nicknames in NBL Canada.
No kidding. Great ball handler. Quickly double team, gives it up. Gets it back right away and takes the three, and he makes it. Melvin Johnson setting him up with that quick pass back out of the double team.
You know, Jardine's an interesting guy. Of course, he played at the University of Syracuse under Jim Boeheim, who's one of the best college coaches of all time. And seeing him play is, again, a real vote of confidence in the league that you're able to start getting guys like that who have that kind of a pedigree to come to this league. We saw it before in guys like Travis Relaford, who played with the Kansas Jayhawks, and they're starting to get some real prime-time college players to try this league out.
Well, it's become a legitimate league, that's for sure. There are 10 teams in the league now, a couple new teams as well this year starting up. London driving to the hole, and Doug Herring Jr. This is what I mean, he comes off the bench. What coach would not love to have Doug Herring Jr. start for them, let alone come off the bench?
Well, I mean, if you look at the point guard position, maybe the one Achilles heel that the Lightning had was that they didn't really have a backup point guard, so when Junior Cadogan came out of the game, they were a little thin there. And then, you know, it's one heck of a response to go out and get a former NBL All-Star to come out and be your backup point guard, and he's been phenomenal for the London Lightning as a distributor. He's only averaging about 7 points per game. That's not quite the numbers that fans out east are probably used to having from Doug Herring Jr., but he's averaging 6 assists and really doing a good job distributing, although he's going to pick up a foul right there.
Little obstruction foul there, looks like, with Scoop Jardine. Well, it's sort of hard to tell who all... We know who the people start all the time, players that start for London all the time, but if you look across on the playing time, the numbers for minutes played is very evenly distributed.
And they really have, as we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, although I'm reading the comments and maybe they didn't hear us say it, is that there's really 2 starting lineups for the London Lightning. They go with 2 units, and they're really not afraid to give guys all the minutes that they can. And Julian Boyd's going to hit a huge three-pointer right there.
He has been on fire. He has been a revelation this year for the talent that he brings. And again, the sideline throws off the Moncton Miracle player Leon Sutton that time. That's 4 violations so far on the sideline.
And again, all in one quarter, those are turnovers that you're just giving away opportunities to the other team, and that's really been Moncton's problem this year.
Good ball move by the Lightning. Good body control, unable to convert. Big rebound by Theo Davis. It's Malik Story with the ball up top, being guarded by Ryan Anderson, taking him hard to the hole, trying to get to the hoop. Kicks it out into the corner for a 3-point attempt by Russell Bird, unable to convert. Anderson, little step back jumper. Complete miss that time, an air ball as we used to call it. That's going to be a foul on purpose. Slow the play down by Marvin Phillips. That's going to be their 4th team foul.
And that's really been the one problem London's had is foul trouble. And I say problem very loosely, as it's been a pretty smooth sailing for the London Lightning after the 5 games in 8 days start that they had. But the fouls are really the one thing that hasn't been corrected quite yet. And it hasn't killed them yet, but it's not something you want to keep doing.
Long 3-point attempt by Russell Bird. He makes it. That was a tough shot. Fairly far out behind that line as well. Julian Boyd being guarded by Russell Bird at the moment. Nice interior pass to Joel Friesen. Bounce it on the out-of-bounds line. Turnover by the London Lightning. Nice interior passing, just unable to hang on to it.
You know, this has been another hot start by the London Lightning, but you can argue that defense is the reason they've only allowed 13 points to the Moncton Miracles, but I think turnovers have really been the story of this first quarter. You've got the 4 out-of-bounds calls, a couple fouls that really didn't need to be taken. There's a steal right there.
Great weight, great patience by Ryan Anderson for the backdoor cut by Marvin Phillips. Julian Boyd on the steal on defense. Perfectly executed. Scoop Jardin going hard to the hole. Scooping it up as he normally does, but unable to convert that time. London Lighting doing a controlled fast break. A little miscommunication that time from Ryan Anderson. Pass was behind Julian Boyd.
Yeah, just a little bit too much Globetrotters right there. Probably a pass that didn't really need to be made. If they play a little more under control, you get 2 points there.
Bird up top of the ball trying to beat his player. That's Julian Boyd. He's trying to get, again, pass stolen by London Lightning. A little control fast break here. Throws the ball back to Marvin Phillips. Steps into it. Can he make that long shot? Unable to convert. Lightning are back quickly. Bird looking for the open three, and a quick three by Leon Sutton, and he makes it. They're not shy. Taking the three-point shots are the Moncton Miracles. 28-16 it is. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
And again, with the amount of threes the Miracles take, you really don't want to let them get hot. So if you're giving them an open opportunity, it's an opportunity for them to get some momentum going.
Julian Boyd with the ball, swings it out top to Ryan Anderson. Anderson trying to beat his man one-on-one. Throws the ball off the backboard, unable to convert. And off of Marvin Phillips in the scuffle underneath the basket. Moncton ball. I just look at that lineup. We know Boyd can shoot three. Phillips can shoot the three. We know Herring can shoot the three. Friesen we know can shoot the three. And then the best three-point shooter on the London Lightning is Ryan Anderson. So really there are 5 3-point threats on the floor right now for the London Lightning. Moncton with the ball. Again, quick shot by Russell Bird, unable to convert. And the ball knocked out of bounds by Moncton. London ball. So Doug Herring Jr. bringing the ball up. Early screen set by Marvin Phillips. Takes it to the hoop. And looking for Phillips to slip to the basket, but he wasn't there. Now we know this is Phillips' only third or fourth game back in. So, and of course, Herring is still working on his third or fourth game as well. So some chemistry needs to be built yet. Some familiarity. Joel Friesen with the foul underneath on that drive by Russell Bird. He'll be going to the line shooting 2.
You know, Russell Bird's kind of interesting. He actually spent some time at Michigan State, where he was coached by Tom Izzo, one of the best college coaches in NCAA history. So he spent 3 years there. He ended up transferring his senior year, but there's no better boot camp than you could possibly get from a guy like Tom Izzo.
One of my favorite coaches of all time in the NCAA. Royce White coming back into the game for Marvin Phillips. So Boyd along with Herring and White, Ryan Anderson, and Joel Friesen. It's a quick shot by Doug Herring. He makes the three. We said he could shoot it. He proves it right there.
And you know, Herring's a guy who's been known for his scoring pretty much his entire NBL career. We haven't really seen that big performance from him on the scoreboard. You know, this is the type of night where he's seen a lot of these Moncton guys before. He's played the Eastern teams. He knows their styles. This could be a night where he gets really comfortable playing against a certain opponent.
So Moncton going to the line. Foul on the London Lightning. I thought there was a travel on that. Nice catch there by Davis. The referees did not call it. Makes his first foul shot. 31 points in the first quarter. That doesn't bode well for Moncton. We know London Lightning are averaging 112 a game already. We're off to a good start this game. Herring with the ball up top. 15 seconds left on the shot clock yet. She's throwing the ball up top to Julian Boyd. Puts the ball on the floor for a spin move. Able to control it, and what a great body control. High off the backboard. Spins it in.
Well, not just the spin, but to adjust for the contact, too. Just an excellent effort from the London forward.
Moncton with the ball up top. That is Melvin Johnson the third, going for that long three. Shot clock and the quarter clock are about the same. Just around 15 seconds left. Herring holding the ball up top with Boyd. Waiting for the last shot of the quarter. 33-18 it is. Moncton does have a foul to give if they want. And they do. Russell Bird. 6.7 seconds left. Anderson inbounding the ball for London Lightning. Into Doug Herring. Gonna have to make a play. Kick out to Royce White. Can he make that three? It's a good looking three, but unable to convert. So after the first quarter of play, it's 33-18 for the London Lightning over the Moncton Miracles. Well, again, another big start by the London Lightning. We know they can score, and we sitting here in the booth from the beginning of the year, we see an improved defense, it seems like, game after game, and they have now crept up to third in overall defense, holding their opposition to 101 points per game. The other two leading teams are both holding their teams just under 100. I think that's probably London Lightning's goal as well. We know they're first in scoring and scoring margin.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, one of the things I think is going to be interesting going into the second quarter, as I mentioned earlier, they lead the league in three-pointers made, but they're only shooting 32% as a team, which isn't a terrible number. But when you're shooting as many threes as the Moncton Miracles are, then that number becomes worse and worse with the number you shoot, because that's more opportunities going the other way. Now with Moncton down 33-18, I think one of the traps that they have to make sure they don't fall into is to try and chuck their way back into the game. They can't just take a bunch of inefficient threes just for the sake of shooting threes. They're going to have to keep playing controlled. I think the second half of that quarter there that we just saw, they played pretty good basketball and they kept pace with the Lightning pretty well. So I don't think it's about trying to get yourself back in the game immediately. You've got 3 quarters, so I think it's going to be important for Moncton to be efficient and try to just slowly chip away at what right now is a very large London Lightning lead.
Yes, I think there needs to be some answers on the other side of the ball as well. So far, no defense really against London Lightning's outside shooting. And London getting a lot of free looks and a few extra fast breaks from those three-pointers, those long rebounds that are picked up by London, and away they go. So trying to see if we can get some first quarter stats here. Right now our scoreboard not updating at the moment. We'll try to get some information for that. Nice crowd again out tonight. Like we said, the average is just under 5,500. I don't know if we have that tonight or not, but the upper bowl is quite full actually, and the lower bowl has a sizable amount as well. Always a great place to play in, I'm sure. Visiting teams come in and must have a look at this arena and go, wow, that's a lot of people for an NBL game, but that's our norm here in London, Ontario for the London Lightning.
Well, again, the Budweiser Gardens is a 9,000 seat arena, and they've come close to filling it on some nights. I believe the record they've held is a shade over 8,000. And really the attendance in London is pretty incredible when you consider the fact that a lot of junior hockey teams can't even fill rinks that would be like 3,000 to 4,000 people, and yet London's able to consistently get 5,000 plus out for London Lightning games.
Well, don't mention the London Knights. It's sold out here every game, so it's a sellout. London Lightning with the ball in the corner. That's Kyle Johnson with a step-back jumper. Increases the lead 35-18 early in the second quarter here. And again, Scoop Jardine with the blame ball control for him. Nice interior bounce pass to Bird, unable to control it. And a fast break for the London Lightning. This will be Kyle Johnson with the easy dunk. That's Leon Sutton. That was a primary ball handler there. A little too closely guarded that time. Ryan Anderson, a little too much body on Scoop Jardine. Gets the first team foul in the second quarter for the Lightning. Yeah, it's our first look at Moncton Miracles as well, so we're not very familiar with them, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and who their go-to players are in crunch time. So we'll learn as the game goes along.
You know, they had a pretty physical game against the Windsor Express last night, too, and you know, you come all the way out from Moncton, have to play 2 games in 2 nights. And again, that Windsor one, very physical, that'll drain you. So Miracle's probably having to fight a bit of fatigue here too.
That was Mitchell going one-on-one. Beautiful pass into Boyd. Boyd had sealed his man off, and no hesitation by Royce White, throwing the ball over top of the defense. Julian Boyd, the beneficiary. Whistle blowing for some reason. I think
the shot clock didn't reset.
I think you're right, yes. There's no way they'd be at 14 yet. Seconds on the shot clock, so back to the other end, probably reset to full shot clock, I'm thinking. Great quick pass again. Quick thinking is Royce White when he has the ball. He always seems to be aware where everybody is on the floor and who has an advantage over the man and makes those beautiful passes.
I think the big thing with White, too, we talked about how he might be rusty at the start of the year. I'd say he was only rusty for maybe 2 games because to me it wasn't the stats he was putting up, it was the turnover number that indicated whether he was at full speed or not. His turnovers have dropped like a rock. He's very secure with the ball now, whereas the number was a little high those first 2 games. So he's a guy who, he doesn't hesitate, he trusts his pass. So when he makes those passes, they're so quick and he doesn't turn it over because he doesn't hesitate. He just trusts his ability to make that pass and then his teammate as well to get the ball and go up with it.
Again, a turnover, a long pass this time to Johnson. Kicks it back out for a quick 3. And he makes it. Doug Herring Jr. He thinks he got fouled there as well, but he made it with somebody in his face. This is Bird taking him to the hole. He's a bigger player. That's a good play by Russell Bird.
And at a time like this, it's hard to pick out, you know, who do you leave open on the London Lightning? Obviously, you want to guard them all, but you've got Royce White, an NBA draft pick. You've got Julian Boyd, the leading scorer of the Lightning. Ryan Anderson, a former All-Star and champion. Doug Herring, a former All-Star. And then Kyle Johnson, who's been lighting it up tonight. So, I mean, this is kind of a death lineup here for the London Lightning. Just, it's hard to decide who are you going to cover. And, you know, they've so far the coverage has been an issue with London already at 42 points.
Well, I think London is deep. They are skilled. I think for them to have success, and I see it more and more every day, is team chemistry and unselfishness of the ball. And from what we see tonight, I look at you know, the stats for assists as well. They're first in the league for assists, 26 a game. So they're sharing the ball as well with all these talented players. Tough pass for White to hang on to. Triple team that time. Unable to hold on to it. This is Sutton throwing it into the corner after the penetrating drive. Nice swing that time by Moncton Miracle, but unable to convert. Oh, he does convert. He gets a lucky bounce. Julian Boyd, a little bit injured on that drive by Sutton into the hoop.
Yeah, he took a while to get up there. He's trying to walk it off right now.
Looks like he's shaking it off. I think he's staying on the court. Told his coach he wants to stay on. So let's see what Moncton can do here on the defensive side of it. Nice fake again. Good. Doug Herring that time did get knocked down, but that was a nice little give and go between White and Herring. And Herring with the open shot gets knocked down. Going to be shooting 2. Doug Herring Jr. shooting 2. 42-23 is the score. Just under 10 minutes in the second quarter. Early going. That's a lot of points, isn't it? 43 already at this stage in the game.
Well, I feel like some teams would, you know, 43 is not exactly a good half, but I mean, to be there with almost the entire second quarter to go is pretty great.
Malik Story with the ball. London really overplaying on defense on man-to-man, making it tough to get the ball in. That means Scoop Jardin throwing the ball into the corner. Malik Story unable to convert. Big board that time. A nice recovery out to Mitchell. Jardin taking it to the hole. High off the backboard. Good challenge by Julian Boyd that time. Here Royce White again at his 3/4 speed. Dribbling the ball. Doing the step over. Is that going to be a block or a charge? That does look like it's going to be a block.
Tydron Beatty had a bit of flair to that one too.
A lot of contact there. The defender was not in position.
Offensive.
So I wondered about that because it's a charge. So he did stay. Did stay in his position. You can be moving as long as you're not moving the way the referee thinks you shouldn't be moving.
Took quite the hit too.
Did.
Good on him standing in there.
Stayed on the court. Jardin getting hounded on defense. This is Tyder and Beatty on top. They're having a tough time getting to the hole. Nice swing that time. Double pass back out to number 23, Leon Sutton, and he makes that three.
And I love the spacing right now from the Moncton Miracles, and that really set it up because they just moved the ball around so much that eventually someone had to lose their man. And the ball was moving such a great distance, too, because they had guys spacing the floor, creating space, and that time we saw a cut. The help defender goes over, and then one kick out, and all of a sudden you've got two guys and one defender out behind the arc.
Big rebound back to Mitchell, but he's unable to convert. That three that was taken there, I think, would be an ill-advised three, whereas the one we saw before, 2 or 3 passes, and the man was wide open set. That's a good three-point one to shoot. So Moncton needs to learn their selection of threes.
And that's a little bit of the problem with Moncton in terms of their consistency. Is they're a very technically sound team. They have a lot of guys in the right spots, making the right plays, but then every so often there's a shot like that where it's just very ill-advised, and another play like that where everyone was in the right spot and then no one moved.
Julian Boyd just able to absorb that contact. Such a strong upper body. A nice backdoor cut. Tough pass to catch on to, but hung on to it, put it off the backboard for another 2 points. Royce White out, sitting out. So we've got Herring and Johnson, along with Marvin Phillips and Julian Boyd for London Lightning. This is Jardine taking the ball to the hole, unable to convert that time. The ball got stuck. It's going to be a jump ball.
We had a wedgie.
A wedgie.
Shout out Zach Dadson, the Niagara color commentator who loves when he sees a wedgie.
And our first look at Criswell, Tony Criswell, number 22 for the London Lightning tonight, if you're trying to catch his number.
It's almost crazy to think Criswell's the 4th big on the London Lightning, considering I feel like he could start for some teams. He's a very athletic big man.
Nice interior pass to Mitchell, and this time he's able to convert. It looked awkward, but he made it work. Herring's been on the floor for quite a while. Cadogan's been on the bench since that substitution. And a little ball fake up top to Kyle Johnson. Wide open look for Marvin Phillips. He didn't take the three right away that time. Stepped in, felt a little more comfortable with that jump shot from the foul line. This is Sutton again with the ball. Quick pass around for Moncton Miracles. That was a good looking three, unable to convert. Was Malik Story. Slip to the basket by Boyd. He catches it in the air softly off the backboard. I tell you, he has been a revelation. I got no other way to explain it. We did not know that he was a scoring machine that he is here for London.
I mean, this is a guy who he dealt with his injuries in college. He tore his ACL 3 times, but when he was able to play, he was an all-conference player at Long Island. In fact, he actually played with Kyle Johnson there too, and he's been one of the best players for the London Lightning. I know there was talk about him being a good player when he was first signed, but then it sounds kind of mean to say the Royce White thing kind of took a lot of the hype away from Julian Boyd, so he was almost forgotten a bit going into the season, and he's done an excellent job at reintroducing himself with this excellent start to the year he's had, again leading the London Lightning in scoring.
I think he's very near the top, if not top in field goal percentage as well in the league. Always seems to be shooting well in any game that we've seen him. So my name's John Van Houweling, and if you didn't hear it off the top of the telecast, I'm along here with Chris Croucher, calling the game here from Budweiser Gardens in London, Ontario, between the London Lightning and the Moncton Miracles. Currently 49-28, partway through the second quarter. We're still working on trying to get our live stats back up, so we don't have any live stats to give you at the moment. But we do know that Moncton has a number of turnovers. They seem to have steadied their game here the last 4 or 5 minutes and have shot a little better as well, choice of threes. But that poor start in the first quarter put them in a big hole that they have not recovered from so far, down by 21. Now, see, Moncton, I think, has only played 8 players so far from what I can see for their sub-rotation. Of course, the Lightning have gone up to number 10 players already. But the only player that hasn't played is Marvin Singleton so far for the London Lightning. So they've gone 10 deep. So Phillips with the ball up top. Kyle Johnson, again another good ball handler. Throws the ball in the corner for Julian Boy. He does the fake. Got pushed out of bounds, a little too close contact. That time by Tydron Beatty. He was outsized as well. And he knows Julian can shoot the three. Just crowded him a little too much that time. Shot clock back at 14. Doug Herring Jr. still on the floor as well. Played well. A couple big threes. Phillips with a big screen, and there's Doug Herring Jr. with another three-point attempt, unable to convert. And I thought Criswell knocked the ball out of bounds, but they're calling it London ball. Malik Story unable to hang on to it. A little undersized here, I find, is Moncton as well, other than Theo Davis in the middle.
Well, in terms of production, Moncton not a terribly deep team. After you get past their sixth player, there's not really a lot of scoring coming off the bench for them. So when they do have to go their bench lineup, you lose some on the offensive end with Moncton.
Long three-point attempt by Julian Boy. The shot clock was running out. Here an early three again by Moncton, this time able to convert. Malik Story. He can score as well, we know that. So they're almost living and dying by the 3 points here is what it seems like. A little step back by Kyle Johnson. He gets run over by Tydron B. That's his second foul in the last minute. First he bodied Julian Boyd out of bounds, and that time he just runs over Kyle Johnson. That's his second personal foul.
You know, Kyle Johnson's a guy, he's not a guy who's going to put up a ton of points every single night. Basically just because that's not how the London Lightning work. It's usually whoever's having a good night, he gets the ball. When Kyle Johnson is having a good night, though, he is a very dynamic scorer. He's already got a 30-point game on his resume during his time with the London Lightning.
This is Jardine trying to go into the hole, get caught in mid-air there, but unable to convert the ball over. That is a blocking foul on Criswell, looks like. Tydron Beatty playing with a lot of energy, taking it hard to the hole that time and rewarded with 2 shots at the foul line.
Substitutions on the play. To the line for the Miracles, Tydron Beatty. 2 shots.
2 shots. Unable to convert the first.
Just a heads up on some of your out-of-town scores. Niagara and Windsor, 1-point game, 40-39 heading into halftime. Island Storm, Cape Breton Highlanders. Cape Breton's leading that one just near the end of the third. And the Halifax Hurricanes are beating the St. John Riptide. They've got about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter there.
Those are the top 2 teams in the East, are they not? St. John and Halifax? Yes.
In fact, it was St. John that broke the win streak by the Halifax Hurricanes. So, bit of a revenge game there for the Canes. And they're holding up their end so far.
This is Palisade Human Bowling.
So 50-34. Cut a little bit into the deficit. Have the Moncton Miracles down to 16 points. It's going to be a London possession when we come out of the timeout.
Baseline, and when they come back, they're going to crash into these pins. The first person through gets a prize. On your marks, get set, go!
In the meantime, we get to watch children hurl
Yeah,
themselves at
I was wondering what this was exactly. See, are they going to be human bowling balls or something?
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm not sure that was exactly how that was supposed to work like that. But.
Well, I believe one child went for the slide and then didn't slide. So there you go. There's your child bowling for the night. Now here's the thing with the London Lightning. Sometimes when they've had these big leads, and we've seen them get the big leads quite a bit, they've kind of taken their feet off the gas at times. So it's going to be important for them. You know, there's not a ton of time left in this quarter, but if you let Moncton go on a bit of a run, they all of a sudden get to head into the locker room feeling pretty good about themselves, and maybe make a run in the third quarter as well. So if you're the Lightning, you really got to keep your feet on the gas and make sure that Moncton, especially with their three-point shooting, doesn't get themselves back into this one.
Well, I think that was a fatigue timeout by Moncton, just trying to buy some time for his players as he's going with a short bench. That was a long timeout, and long coming out of it as well. This is Phillips driving hard to the hole. Nobody can hold him back. Unable to convert, but he's going to the foul line. And he's very strong with the ball off the dribble as well.
Well, I mean, one look at the shoulders of Marvin Phillips and it'll strike fear in you.
Yes, I would not disagree with that. He is legendary for his workout routines. I saw him doing a stretching exercise before the game. I don't know if you've seen it, but he held the basketball over top of his head, and he did a scissor kick as he's walking. So every step, his foot would touch the ball over his head.
Jeez.
Just imagine that flexibility on that, and the strength, of course, but that's what he was doing. He was kicking the ball on his head as he's walking up and down the court doing stretching exercises. Just try to picture that.
Well, man, the size of Marvin Phillips doing that, he's lucky he didn't kick someone in the crowd just based on how long his legs are. That play right there, that was Julian Boyd drawing a charge right there.
Junior Cadogan back on the floor. Doug Herring played a significant portion that time. It was very productive with 3 3-pointers. Cadogan, starting point guard, back on the floor for the London Lightning. Swings the ball open. No hesitation that time to shoot by Kyle Johnson. Like you said, once he gets going, he certainly can be the shooter. Scoop Jardine getting a lot of playing time. Nice little assist that time. Dump off pass for his teammate. Unable to convert, gets fouled. And that is Beatty again, I believe. Tydron Beatty.
I'm not sure what Boyd was supposed to do on that one. He was pretty, he wasn't really moving, and he pretty much was tickling the rafters. He had his hands so high, so maybe a nice call there for the Moncton Miracles.
Makes his first one. Crowd giving him a bit of a heckling down there. Barry takes his long time at the foul line, makes his second one as well. There's Ryan Anderson back on the floor. Junior Cadogan being guarded by Melvin Johnson III. That's a hard screen by Phillips, but he was not set. I'm going to blame that one a little bit on his offensive teammate not bringing him close enough to him for that screen or set. As a player, you're coached to make sure that you're still, but you need to bring your defensive player into the man that's setting the screen.
Yeah, just not quite a sharp enough cut there. Although I do think Phillips did put a little extra into the shot too.
Going hard to the hoop with a difficult degree of execution for Moncton Miracles. This is Ryan Anderson taking the ball to the hoop. Julian Boyd throwing it out in the side. Wow, nearly picked off by Moncton. And Kyle Johnson calmly bounces it, stops with a pop, stop and pop, and makes the basket.
And if you're coach for the Moncton Miracles, Paul McCaskey, you got to be looking at that possession, just be like, take care of the ball. Because they can shoot like that. We just saw Scoop Jardine there. They're a good shooting team, but they just don't take care of the ball. And those turnovers and extra opportunities for the other team have really been what's been killing them. And it's been doing a lot of damage tonight, too.
Johnson's feeling it. You called it earlier. Once he gets going, Chris, you're right. They just keep giving it to him. Junior Cadogan giving it to him on the handoff, and no hesitation shooting. Scoop with Jordan again trying to set up his teammate, Beatty. This is Melvin Johnson III, unable to convert that three.
I just keep feeding Kyle Johnson if I'm the London Lightning here. Why not?
Right now it's going to Ryan Anderson. Swinging the ball into Johnson, just like you said. And he makes the step back as well. And his teammates are applauding him.
Get some water, because that man is on fire. Holy, great shooting from Kyle Johnson.
Well, that's what good teams do. They keep giving it to the hot hand. Great pass by Scoop Jardine to his teammate that time.
You know, I know they don't really have dunk contests in NBL Canada anymore, but if they did, Tydron Beatty might be my first nominee, because he's had some great dunks tonight here for the Moncton Miracles.
This is Johnson again with the ball, and he does get the foul that time. Takes a shot, but his teammates are definitely feeding him.
And I think that's another thing that London has done well this year is when a guy gets hot, they do a good job of identifying the hot hand and feeding him. And we've seen a lot of players for the Lightning go on runs. We've seen a bunch of 30-point performances from various Lightning players such as Julian Boyd, Ryan Anderson,
that was last
Kyle
game, remember?
Johnson.
Yeah, he had 26 points or 4 points in the first half. They just kept giving it to him.
And then the second half, they were riding so high that they didn't even need to play Boyd.
Makes them both 64-40, extended back to 24. They had it down to 16, did the Moncton Miracles. This is Jardine. He is their primary ball handler. And he's getting held and pulled, and he steps out of bounds. Does Beatty again. That is number 5, if I'm counting correctly. Turnovers on the sideline, stepping out of bounds.
And again, just take care of the ball. If we had live stats, I'd give you the points off of turnovers, but you could probably just guess that it's big.
Well, we'll see if we can get some stats at halftime if we got time to go down and get the paper printout for it. And we'll see if that's, but I think you're absolutely correct. Screen away from the ball on Anderson, illegal. So turnover for London. 2:40 left in the second quarter. Both teams at the max in their fouls for the quarter, so any more fouls, the players will be going to the line. Malik Story with the ball up top to Beatty. This is Jardin again, of course. Great defense that time by Junior Cadogan. That's Melvin Johnson Jr. going hard to the hole. A little out of control, but able to hang on to it enough to draw the foul.
You know, Melvin Johnson, we haven't seen a ton of him, but he's currently leading the Moncton Miracles in scoring this season, averaging 20 points per game. So he's a guy that we haven't seen a ton of, but they really need him to get going and start taking some of the scoring burden. Because right now it's 24 points and someone has to do it. And I'd look at Melvin Johnson as the likely candidate.
Well, the rule is don't put a shooter on the foul line because he gets warmed up, right? So
well, this is one way to get it started here.
That's right. Makes them both. London pushing the ball quickly down to the other side. Johnson that time doesn't take the shot, pulls it back out. And his teammates looking for him. Unselfishly throws it to Junior Cadogan. Junior Cadogan, the Canadian, puts it down for a 3. He doesn't take many shots, but when he does, they're usually at a good time. Johnson with the ball underneath to Jardin that time, and he's quick up off the backboard.
Great ball movement there. We mentioned the assist number being low for the Moncton Miracles, but they've really had no problems moving the ball. It's just been the turnovers because they'll make that one extra pass that's just a little weaker, and that's what's been hurting them. But when they're doing it right, a very pretty team to watch.
Unable to convert that time. Johnson got caught in midair, didn't know where to put it. Anderson trying to draw the charge, and he does draw the charge. I could see it coming. He jumped right in the path of where Johnson wanted to go, and the referee calls it a charge. I could see that one developing from way up here.
You know, that's the thing about the wing players for the London Lightning is not only are they good offensively, but they are really good defenders. I mean, Ryan Anderson holds the NBL record for steals in a game. This is a guy who's one of the best defensive wings in the league, and he can also go off for 30 points on a given night. And so wing players like Ryan Anderson, Joel Friesen, and when he's healthy, Garrett Williamson, and even Kyle Johnson, any given night, it could be anyone from that group that just really leads the way.
Royce Wright, that time with the illegal screen. And miscommunication between Moncton players that time, Johnson and Jardine. Junior Cadogan pushing the ball up. Moncton sort of back slow on defense. This will be a quick set play for Anderson. That's his bread and butter shot from up top there. So again, the ball in the hands for Johnson. This time Beatty does finally get it. Try and go hard to the hoop. All over him was a London player. He certainly had a battle for every inch of territory that time, did Beatty, but he's sticking with it. That's Criswell's foul. It's his second foul. And as I said, both teams were over limit, even though he was going for the shot. So any foul will be a shooting foul. Well, Beatty has shown lots of energy. and being willing to mix it up physically as well. It's just that London's been able to match him physically. So it's been tough for him to get to the hoop and to score.
Got to make your free throws. And that's the one thing with Beatty. He's really the only guy who's been doing any damage on the inside for the Moncton Miracles. And he's a very athletic player. And, of course, he was with the Moncton Miracles last year, too. And a great pickup for them.
All right, 49 seconds. Two-shot possession here yet in the end of this quarter. Criswell trying to take it to the hoop. Gets pushed. Looked like a travel there. Junior Cadogan up top. Handing off to Anderson. Inside to Criswell. Criswell's got post position. Gets blocked that time by Theo Davis with a turnover again. You are right. Turnovers are going to kill them here at Moncton Miracles. And Cadogan makes them pay. Moncton should hold for the last shot here. Just over 15 seconds left. Crowd calling out defense on this last possession of this first half. Scoop Jordan taking the long three-pointer. Gets sort of knocked down at the end, but no foul called. And Criswell fighting for the rebound at the end. So a few moments of good play by Moncton Miracles, but on the whole, they were struggling to hang on to the ball and generate any offense. 69-48, 21-point lead here at the end of the first half. Chris, any thoughts?
Pretty much everything we've been saying in the past quarter. They just have to take care of the ball and stop giving away the extra opportunities to London, because London's too dangerous a team. They're going to be able to convert.
Okay, let's turn over to our halftime group. We'll come back at the beginning of second half, see if we can't find some stats for you.
And a 24-point lead. Well, consider that 21 points now. Lead for the London Lightning, 69-48. As we go to the intermission, halftime, the Knoxstrom halftime. Courtside, this is Aaron Sanders bringing it to you. We apologize for the no sound right at the top of the telecast. I'll refresh you in a quick moment, but let's talk about the first half, because that's why we're all here. The London Lightning, typical game so far. You'd think you would expect a lot of big numbers from Julian Boyd and Royce White, all from the front court, but it hasn't. It's been going to the back court lately, so all credit to the man Kyle Johnson, who is carrying this team on his back, swooping right in, making sure the Miracles defense is intimidated, because the Miracles, I believe, did not expect for the little guys to come in and deliver damage that easily. But yes, the Moncton Miracles are down by 21, and yes, they had a tough road trip ever since going west. But if you have to credit one thing, is their ability to go inside the paint and deliver it and deliver justice real well. They're doing real good on the interior offense, and they had a couple of threes in and there. But when you have to go to the player of the half so far for Moncton, you really have to pin it down to one person, and quite to a T-man, that is Tydron Beatty. He's really dominating inside, making sure everybody gets a fair share of the ball. And the ball rotation's not bad, but if there's one thing they got to take in from this first 24 minutes, is the turnovers. You've seen earlier in the first quarter that they suffered on turnovers, and that's something they suffered from last night at the WFCU Center. Being able to not react to pressure real well, tight-roping the sideline and making sure they do not plant their feet before they step out of bounds. So that's one thing they have to consider, but they considered it in the first half, because it's all London Lightning so far in this one. So we get out of this one. We have a full docket of games going on. This Saturday is not lame by any means. We got 4 games for you. Windsor Express and the Niagara River Lions out of the Meridian Center. Windsor keeping it close, but Niagara has the lead 40-39. Sammy Zags really doing the business, leading scoring with 12 points. And Juan Patillo, the new guy from the Windsor Express, leading the team with 11 points. There's only 1-1, and he is helping Windsor get back right into this. So close game right there. Wouldn't expect nothing less from these great 2 Central Division rivals. We go over to the east side. Halifax Hurricanes, they visit the Harbor Station to play against the St. John Riptide. St. John really recovering from a 1-point loss from the Cape Breton Highlanders last night, and so far they're having a hard time dealing with the Hurricanes as they're leading 104-93. And no problem that Mr. Mason himself is leading, scoring with 20 points. Anthony Anderson doing all he can, leading with 19 points and 5 assists. Well, 6 assists rather. It was a close game right at the beginning, but Halifax really pulling it away, trying to make their record 13-1. And finally, we have one more game for you. The Cape Breton Highlanders once again join the Eastlink Center to play against the Island Storm. Now remember, the Highlanders delivered the Island Storm their first road loss earlier in January. But this is a close game that the Storm are winning 76-70. Quickly going right down, Mr. Woodfox himself, Booker Woodfox, leading with 24 points for the Highlanders. Points in the paint, you give that to the Island Storm, 38-28, and that's all for the out-of-town scores. Now we go back to this one. London Lightning really holding a good lead so far, up 21. But for the Moncton Miracles, here's what Paul's McKeskey's squad have to do. They got to make sure they still dish it inside and be careful on the ball rotation. If they want to pass the ball, they got to keep it short. They got to read the defense and make sure they keep on going deep, because those passes up top are really making London's defense really push and kick it up top. That's why they're being pressured in the turnovers. And that's another thing too. Take care of the turnovers. If you can't handle the ball, if you don't have the body language to handle the ball, then give it to somebody else, because passing is a priority and you got to make sure you go in deep. And you got to give it to Tiger and BD too. Make sure he delivers the pressure too, offensively and defensively. So that's what you got to do. Give the game to Tiger and BD and make sure your passes are short, cut, and make sure the turnovers are limited. For the London Lightning, time to put the bigs into it. Make sure Kyle Johnson functions well with Julian Boyd, Royce White, and give Ryan Anderson the time to warm up, because if you let Anderson and Mr. Anderson heat up real well, then you're going to have a good game. So Kyle Johnson, Ryan Anderson, let them warm up, make them become the 1-2 punch for this game, because Ryan Anderson is really scoring well. It's time for them to deliver the damage. So that's the story for you, 69-48 at halftime. John and Chris will be back at the call for the second half, and I will see you folks at the Knockstrom post-game courtside. But for now, we step aside. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Okay, welcome back, sports fans, to the Budweiser Gardens in London, Ontario. I'm John Van Holling, along with Chris Croucher, calling this game, the second half between the London Lightning and the Moncton Miracles. We do apologize for some technical difficulties we did have with our sound in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And, of course, we had no live stats as well. We did go down to the scorers table, at least Chris did, made the walk down. Got some stats on paper, so we'll start sharing that with you as well. First possession already for the London Lightning, extending their lead for Kyle Johnson. And you got lots to say about him.
Well, in that first half there, he had 25 points. That gives him 27 on the night now. And, I mean, he has just been lights out shooting the ball so far and doing an excellent job for the London Lightning.
And stealing the ball on that pass from Beatty. Throws the ball up quickly to Junior Cadogan. Moves the ball around. Again, Tyler Johnson got a lane to the hoop, and he makes it. Beatty just a little bit too late. Rotation.
You know, this is one of the things that the London Lightning do well. They identify a hot hand, and then they just keep feeding them. And Kyle Johnson certainly is a hot hand. And another 2 points for the London wing.
Well, this is Jardine with 6 assists in the first half that we saw in the stats. He is the primary ball handler, has the ball in his hands probably 3/4 of the time trying to set up his teammates. That time, driving to the hoop, dishes off to the corner, but gets a foul called from the London Lightning on him. His first team foul of the third quarter. We looked at the stats as well. 9 out of the 10 players dressed for the London Lightning were on the floor. Most of them in double figures of playing time, so very balanced playing time. That time, nice pick-off pass from Anderson. Unselfishly gives it to Junior Cadogan and strong to the hole. Beatty, I like Beatty's game. He plays tough. He plays strong. That's going to be his third foul, though. They need him. He really is what I find the grit for the team for Moncton Miracles.
You know, Beatty really is one of those guys. He's not a flashy player by any means, but he's very productive just because he's super athletic, and then he also works hard. He just outworks a lot of the guys on the floor, and you know, he's one of those guys that Moncton can build around this season. Obviously, there's a lot of roster changes that happen in the NBL as the year goes on, but I think Tydron Beatty's a guy that they're going to want to keep for as long as they can.
Chardin with the ball, driving straight to the hoop. See if this is a strategy for Moncton instead of taking so many threes that they had. That was Beatty that time. Not afraid to mix it up and be physical. It's Royce White with the ball up top. It's a tough matchup for Tim Mitchell. Nice drive to the hoop by Julian Boyd. And a super leading pass from Royce White. Leon Sutton getting a lot of playing time. Down low to the big guy, Mitchell. Good pair of hands that time, able to convert. See, something unbelievable. The biggest guy on London Lightning is a primary ball handler on these set plays. Does a handoff to Junior Cadogan.
Mismatch right here.
Yes. Beatty's got a tough match looking for the hot hand, and he comes through. Patience by Royce White, waiting for Kyle Johnson to flash to the top.
Well, with that 3 right there, Kyle Johnson's got 33 points in the game. That's the highest by a London Lightning player this season.
3-point attempt by Russell Bird. He's made a couple in the first half. He sat down quite a bit of that second quarter. He's back in the game here in the third. Long 3-point by Ryan Anderson. We saw him doing that in practice before the game, and we were saying, oh, that is definitely NBA territory, and he shows it there. So I think the other big stat that you were talking about during the first half was how many times the ball was turned over, particularly on Moncton Miracles. I think if we look at the stat sheet, 18 turnovers by the Moncton Miracle in that first half.
You know, anytime you give that many extra opportunities to your opponent, you're going to have troubles winning the game, and that's really been a problem for the Moncton Miracles.
Kyle Johnson with the foul that time, trying to guard Russell Bird. Second team foul for London.
You know, I could put it another way, actually, for the Moncton Miracles. Tim Mitchell's the only player who doesn't have a turnover on the entire team. Every other player has turned the ball over at least once.
Well, speaking of Tim Mitchell, he makes a nice drive to the hoop there. Yeah, he's not a primary ball handler either. Royce White gets the ball knocked out of his hand. No foul called. Russell Bird bringing the ball up. little ball fake by Jardine right over top of Kyle Johnson's hand. Nice dribble. It puts it out into the corner for Russell Bird, but he's a little, maybe a step too far. Turnover by the Lightning there, trying to save the ball going out of bounds. Jardine with a no-look pass, and that'll be assist number 7 for him.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
someone got caught daydreaming there and didn't get into position down in the post.
This is White again with the ball. Shooting out to Johnson. Spotted by himself. Nobody on him. Just rotated, waiting for White. And another three-pointer. This is Beatty doing the step over. Beautiful move. Avoided the contact from Julian Boyd. Took it straight, strong to the hoop. It's Ryan Anderson. He's got held on the hip by Beatty. I think that's going to be his 4th, I believe. They can ill afford to get him in off the court and into trouble. Foul trouble, that is. No movement on the bench to take him off, even though we are early in the third quarter. Cadogan with the floor. This is a no foul call, even though he got knocked down. There's some contact between Johnson and it looks like Scoop Jardine got a little whack on the face there. Johnson unable to convert that shot. No foul called either way, even though there was a lot of contact on that shot. It is going to be a Moncton ball, I believe, on the side.
You know, this is a game where we really wish we had the live stats because Kyle Johnson could be making an attack on the London Lightning record books right now. We do know he's well over 30. The current record held by London Lightning, the franchise all-time record, is 40 points. And Kyle Johnson has a lot of time if he wanted to make a run for that record.
Who has that record?
That would be Eddie Smith back in year 1 of the league.
EJ, yeah, yes, I remember him. Terrific player. Unable to convert that time from the corner was Beatty. Junior Cadogan. Anderson, no hesitation, stepping right up for that three-point shot. Moncton pushing the ball down the floor. This is Bird with the step over, what we call the Euro step. And Beatty again in the middle of the mix of it, but unable to convert. That's going to be an offensive foul with his leading arm. Beatty, that was a close call for Beatty. That could have been his 5th easily, but White gets called for that foul.
You know, we saw Beatty get away with that too. He drew that call almost in identical positioning in the first half.
Boyd steps up for the big 3 again. I think it's just a step out of his range, comfort range anyway. Not that he can't make it, but for consistency and comfort. This is White, definitely outsized. Big help that time by Mitchell to take the ball away from Royce White. And hard to the hoop, but not under control for Moncton that time. Had a straight lane to the basket, did Leon Sutton. And this time Julian Boyd, so many weapons on the London Lightning that are willing to take that open 3, even in transition, and convert.
Well, again, we talked about those lineups, and of course you've got White, Boyd, and Johnson in from earlier. Or pardon me, you've got White, Johnson, Boyd, and Anderson. Those 4 have really played a lot together, and then Junior Cadogan as the point guard. You know, Cadogan's a guy who's kind of an unsung hero on this team. He doesn't put up big numbers. He's not a guy who's going to go off for 20 points on one night, but he does a good job of picking his spots. He doesn't force any shots. He only takes them when he's open, and he does a really good job of just efficiently running the offense. And
I think that's the exact word, efficient running the offense. I think his turnover margin is very low considering how much time he has the ball in his hands as a primary ball handler for London.
And, you know, this is a guy who played for Team Canada in the Pan Am Games. This is a guy who's got international experience and then big-time college experience at Marquette as well.
That time driving hard to the hoop, trying to put what I would say a late alley-oop up for Julian Boyd. Foul call on the Moncton Miracles as Cadogan's going to the hoop. I think that was a pass, not a shot, even though he's going to the line. Looked like it to me anyway.
Agreed.
Yes, this league really has a lot of credentials now, not only for stability, of course, in the league, and 10 teams, 5 here in the Central, 5 out in the East. but also in the caliber of players. Just like you said, a lot of Division I players graduating, looking for a place to play, and they're casting their eyes here in Canada for this league that's flourishing here.
And it's not just 12th men either. You've got guys like Relaford and Jardine who are top players at big-time college programs that come to NBL Canada, just looking for somewhere to play.
Melvin Johnson hard to the hoop. Ball led out to Royce White, catches it over his head. No-look pass to the hot shooter, who at this point gets his own board, though. Kicks it out to the side. Cadogan unselfishly to Anderson, and we know that that's his favorite spot. We're going to call it the Ryan Anderson NBA 3 sweet spot. That's what we're going to call it.
Well, he was so far out, you could almost call it a four-pointer. Just a great shot there from Anderson.
But definitely, we saw him doing a lot of practice shots from there. That is one of his favorite spots to shoot from. This is Malik Story, unable to convert. Boyd with the rebound. Cadogan waiting for his teammates to get caught up to him. Cadogan takes it to the hole himself. Good body control. Turn the corner, strong to the hoop. Down inside to the big guy. That's 44, Theo Davis I'm talking about, unable to convert that jump shot. So we have a timeout on the floor. So 96-58. I do not know how high this score is going to go, Chris, tonight. We are only partway through the third quarter, and London shooters are on fire.
Well, I mean, just look at the score right now. 96 points would be a decent outing for an entire game, let alone halfway through a third quarter. 120 is not out of reach at all. Just a real clinic put on by the London Lightning. I don't even think Moncton's had a horrible game.
No, I haven't either.
I think London's just been that good.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's been a case of London's just executing everything that they want to do.
I would say horrible in possession of the ball. Otherwise, they're battling on every possession there is on the floor. They're trying their best. Tonight they're just overmatched.
They've turned the ball over too many times. Their shot selection hasn't always been the best. And defensively, I mean, you're allowing 96 points. I don't think you can call it a good game defensively. But I don't think it's been. I don't think a lot of the shots London's making are easy shots. London's made a lot of threes with a hand in the face. We saw Julian Boyd just bounce off of contact a couple times. It's not like they're giving up easy shots, just London's finishing them.
Exactly. I think London is on a roll tonight. The shooters are rubbing off on each other for the hot shooting. So 96-58, partway through the third quarter. Let's see. And still Moncton, I think, is going with about 8 players from what we can see. Deep so far. I'm not sure what else they have on their bench. Like you said, statistically speaking, there is not a lot of help coming off the bench. So let's have a look on the floor. So we have Theo Davis out there, along with Russell Bird, I see. I see the aforementioned Malik Story. Melvin Johnson III is out there. As well, the ever-present Scoop Jardine. I think he's hardly been off the floor at all. Scoop hasn't been. Julian Boyd up top. This is the hot shooter for the night so far. Kyle Johnson pulls up for the jumper, and he makes it. He is somewhat unconscious tonight.
Well, I believe he's at 37 now, so 1 3-pointer, which we've seen him do multiple times in this game, and he'll be tied with Eddie Smith for the franchise record in points.
Scoop Jardine up top. This is Beatty again. Rolls it out to Bird. Bird again, I'm going to say it again, he's about a step too far from his comfort zone. But that's part of London's defense. They're forcing him out farther and farther out in the three-point line, and he's taking the bait instead of swinging the ball or trying to drive. There's Johnson again. Throws it in the air. Got knocked on the elbow, and it still goes in. His teammates are definitely looking for him. Scoop Jardine going to the hole. Nice ball fake. Puts it in his other hand. Almost able to convert. It's Doug Herring Jr. on the floor. Junior Cadogan back on the bench. It's Kyle Johnson again. That time it got blocked, but he gets fouled. They were determined not to let him make that basket. And that is Malik Story that time with the foul.
Again, Kyle Johnson getting a shot here. to continue adding to his point total. This is one of the all-time great performances by a London Lightning player here at Budweiser Gardens, too, getting to do it in front of a home crowd.
So 2 shots for Kyle. That's the 4th team foul for the Moncton Miracles. 4 minutes left in the third quarter. 100-58. I don't usually say the 100 in the third quarter. For those fans out there, they're wondering why I'm emphasizing it. But a hot shooting night by a number of London Lightning, in particular, Kyle Johnson.
You know, sometimes you got the shooting going right, especially if you're a team that takes as many threes as the Moncton Miracles. Sometimes your shooting's right and everything goes good, and then other times you're losing by 44 points if Kyle Johnson makes a shot.
And he does make them both.
So this is just one of those nights for Moncton. It's they had a very tough schedule leading up to this. London's had a week off, and whereas Moncton had to play 2 games in a row, as well as travel all the way to Ontario. So my heart goes out to Moncton a bit, but this is this one's gonna hurt.
Looks like a bit of a shorter bench, right? So not a whole lot of help coming off the bench. And hot shooting from London Lightning. And every shot's difficult for Moncton. London's still playing hard on the defense. This is Marvin Phillips backing his man down, doing a fadeaway, and he makes it. A nice soft touch for the big man.
I think Doug Herring just picked up a foul, and no one's quite sure why.
That was away from the ball, was it?
I guess
I did not see that. So it must be some kind of intentional or flagrant foul here, because Moncton is going to the foul line. Technical foul. So I'm not sure what that was for. I see a couple substitutes made, so Herring is on the floor, as we noticed, and Phillips, along with Boyd and Johnson, the hot shooter, still on the floor. And we have Joel Friesen back on the floor as well. He did not play much in the first quarter, but normally gets lots of minutes. Tenacious defender is Joel Friesen. This is Scoop Jardin again. Doug Herring's guarding the shooter, and Russell Bird trying to stay on top of him. And there's a long 3 by Malik Story. We haven't seen too much from him tonight. We know that he can score. Marvin Phillips up top to Kyle Johnson, looking for the early screen, goes the other way, takes it hard to the hole, and does the early scoop with the layup to put the ball down and gets the contact. That basket must seem like it's 3 feet wide for him.
Looks like Doug Herring's still talking to the ref about that foul. Again, we don't have live stats, so I'm kind of guessing here. But if Kyle Johnson makes both of these, he will be the London Lightning record holder for points in a game. He'll be at 41, I believe. Pardon me, it was 1 shot, but he'd tie it with that if he had made it.
And he steals the ball because he was hustling back on that pass. Another turnover by Moncton. He's determined to take it to the hole again. Oh, he does make it.
And there it is.
I think that's the one based on the way his teammates are cheering him. That was a difficult layup as well. Degree of difficulty is like off the charts. And Anderson nicely weaves his way through. He's had a steady game tonight for the most part, based on what opposition he's been facing. He's been hounded all over the floor as a primary ball handler. Kyle Johnson again with the ball. He throws it up, unable to convert that time.
I didn't know he could miss.
No, Russell Bird that time in his face. And Kyle Johnson on the floor. Looks like a foul underneath the basket on Friesen, I believe. Okay, big round of applause for Kyle Johnson from the fans. I think fans recognizing his hot hand tonight. And Ryan Anderson back on the floor. Herring, Scoop Jardin with his other hand that time, puts it up. Just blew by Doug Herring that time. Herring with the ball up top, doing the same, unable to convert that time. Give the ball up with the turnover. Malik Story with the ball up top. And guarded by Ryan Anderson. Story taking to the hoop, throws it into the corner. Another big 3 attempt by Moncton. I don't know how many they take tonight, but they have taken a lot. That was by Melvin Johnson. And that's first look at Marvin Singleton and his first shot, and it's in.
I just wanted to say one thing. When Kyle Johnson left the game, I've been messaging with the people down at the table. That is, in fact, confirmed. 41 points, franchise record in points in one game by Kyle Johnson.
Long three-pointer by Malik Story. It's 2 now in the last couple minutes by him. Yes, that's quite an accomplishment. Like I said, London's an original franchise in this league, so they've got years under their belt. Foul from behind that time by Story on Anderson. So there's lots of players that have come through the league and on the London uniform, lots of opportunities to set those records. So a lot of good players that he's beat out.
I mean, you think of some of the names there. You've got Gabe Freeman, Marvin Phillips, Garrett Williamson, Stephen Maxwell. You know, those are guys who had some of the best years that we've seen in NBLC, and none of them did this. It was Kyle Johnson who did it with 41. Just a great effort from a guy who kind of came into the year. He was a late addition, so he didn't really get to go through camp. He just kind of had to hop on, and it was in the middle of their 5-game and 8-day stretch that really didn't give him any time to even practice. He pretty much was going game to game to game to game, and now he's really starting to fit in, and he's having one of the great all-time performances in NBLC.
Long three-point attempt by Story that time again. He was feeling it, I believe. Knocked out of bounds by London, so that'll be Moncton ball down at the end. 112-71 is the score. 54 seconds left in this third quarter. Russell Bird up top. Nearly a steal by Friesen that time. This is Story. Taken to the hoop. Nice little soft baby shot a la Tony Parker from my San Antonio
Tony
Spurs.
Parker teardrop.
Well, I got to get at least one San Antonio reference in every game. You know that. That time Doug Herring Jr. trying to put the ball in for 3. This is scoops right in, pulling up quickly. Unable to convert. Bird trying to put it back on the touchback. Anderson all over on him. He's going to the line. I think he sensed that Anderson was behind him. The only chance was to tap it back to the hoop and draw the foul. Yeah, I got to get one Spur reference in every game. You know that. I told you that before, right? So
we got to start getting the obscure ones in there. Where's a Boban Marjanovic reference?
Oh,
that's what we got to do.
The big guy. Yeah, I got you. Well, then we got to go back to George the Iceman.
Oh, yeah.
Gervin. Oh, maybe we should have had Sean Elliott tonight, not stepping on the sidelines. Remember that tippy toe shot, right?
True.
Where he didn't put his heel down and then they scored the big basket. He should maybe teach these guys how to keep their heels off the sideline.
Yeah, he could see the line, though.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, lots of good memories for the San Antonio Spurs. Playing it out, third quarter for the last shot. About 10 seconds left in the shot clock. Doug Herring Jr. with the ball up top. And that is Jardine guarding him. He's taking him one-on-one. He loses control on his way out, but he gets to keep possession with 3.9 seconds left to go. Looked like a lot of contact there, but Herring a little bit shaken up on the ground, not getting up quickly.
I don't know how much is shaken up and how much is wondering where the call was there.
So why do you think we call a timeout with 3.9 seconds when you're up by 37 points?
I have zero idea.
Must be a set play they want to work on, or maybe tempers are flaring and want to keep it cool, maybe.
I mean, you've got they haven't really had a chance to work on their buzzer beaters. I don't know if I'd use now as the time, but maybe they want to try out a play that they haven't really gotten a chance to use before. Well, should point out Marvin Singleton did get into the game, so that's all 11 London Lightning players have touched the floor in this game.
And I believe probably, I'm not sure if Criswell scored, but I think every player has scored as well. Not sure if you were watching the Creighton game today with Xavier, but just thinking of the last few seconds, they had such trouble getting the ball inbounds. I'm thinking, oh my, that's going to be the first thing you're going to be doing at practice. But here, you're right, London Lightning don't have much opportunity. They've been winning fairly big lately, so but you need to have some go-to inbounds plays for key situations, even though this may not be one of them, and it's an opportunity with 3.9 seconds left to see what you could execute and then maybe use it in a big game when you need it.
And I don't really think it's trying to run up the score. I mean, it's one possession. At the same time, I can imagine Moncton might not have been thrilled about that timeout.
And it turns out to be a big three-pointer. They had less time on the shot clock than they did on the score clock, so hence the quick throw by Marvin Phillips. He did get a wide open shot, even though it was way out of his range. So after 3 quarters, 112 points, which is right on the game average, league-leading game average, by the way, for the London Lightning after 3 quarters, and 75 for the Moncton Miracles.
You know, it's going to be important here for London to make sure that they don't get sloppy or start counting this as a W already. They're going to have to make sure they stay focused. Not necessarily... listen, Moncton's going to have a very difficult time if they even want to scale back this lead. But even so, if you're London, it's not necessarily even just about this game. It's about setting a tone for the rest of the year that you don't want to let up in the fourth quarter. You don't want to let bad habits creep in, because those habits can creep in tonight and then affect them tomorrow whenever their next game is. So that's something London's got to make sure of here. And for Moncton, it's pride basketball right now. It's all about how many points you can put up to try and close this gap and make it look a little prettier on the score sheet. And in fact, they're going to help them because it says 0-0 on the board now. So I think that might have been just a little bit of an error there.
I think you're right. I don't know what happened there. I'm just looking at this fan shooting the foul shots and thinking, boy, he was shooting pretty well. Maybe one of these teams could use him as a designated free throw shooter. He made the 5 foul shots they needed to make in whatever it was, 25 seconds. So good for him.
Great shooting right there.
Good for him, too. Yeah, so it's 0-0 in the fourth quarter, which we know is not true. If you happen to see that score on your webcast, that's not what it is. So 112-75 is the score with 1 quarter left to go. I'm Jonathan Howling, along with Chris Croucher, calling the game for you here at the Budweiser Gardens in London. Between the 3-8 Moncton Miracles and the 10-3, the London Lightning, winners of 6 straight, are the London Lightning. And it looks like all their new players that they picked over up the last few weeks, including Doug Herring Jr. and Marvin Phillips, are meshing well with the team.
We also got a lot of bench players in for Moncton. Jamal Gatali, Cordell Gianti, Leon Sutton, Jordan Stotts, and I believe the other player there, I can't quite make out his number. Oh, that's going to be Melvin Johnson, pardon me.
Well, that's Johnson with the ball with Friesen on him. That's Criswell back on the floor as well. A lot of switching by the London defense. A long three-point attempt again. And this time is Ryan Anderson fighting for the ball, still scrambling on the floor for the ball. Doug Herring Jr. with Marvin Singleton, and Criswell and Joel Friesen are the players for the London Lightning. Friesen taking the ball to hoop, a little spin move, up and under, unable to convert. Fighting hard underneath was Criswell, unable to hang on to it. This Johnson getting led out to the sideline by Marvin Singleton, but creates the foul. So like you said, lots of subs in for Moncton Miracles. And some players that haven't seen as much playing time for the Lightning on the floor as well. Talking about Friesen and Singleton in particular, and Criswell. So this is Russell Bird up top. Guarded closely by Criswell. And now there's a Singleton on one of the subs that has come in for the Moncton Miracles. Nice left-handed fadeaway turnaround jump shot by number 2, Cordell Gianti.
You know, Gianti's a really interesting guy to me because he's played in the NBL all 6 seasons that the league has been around, including the first year where he played for the Laval Kebs. If you can remember your NBLC history for that.
Oh, yes, I was there for that. The first 2.5 years I was there, yep.
He also played for the Island Storm in 2014-15. But
so he's played in the league every year then.
Yeah, and 4 years. He's in his 4th one with Moncton right now.
Wow. Another long three-point attempt that time by Leon Sutton, who has played a number of minutes this game. Anderson going off the floor, and Kyle Johnson sighting again. Not sure why, but
not letting him in, or are they letting him in?
I think they're
London's
waiting
got
for them.
6 guys there.
Yeah, no, they're waiting for the next possession. He was too late to report to the score bench. Ball's already handed off to the London Lightning player at the end line, so he has to wait for the next turnover of possession. This is Herring, got blocked from behind, able to convert. Anderson again with that long 3-point. Anybody that plays Ryan Anderson, listen to me now. If he's standing in that spot, do not let him get the ball up in the air. That is his favorite spot. That's Johnson again, the long 3. Quick possession into the time clock for Moncton. That time he's Criswell driving to the hole, held on to by Gentil, I believe. So substitution made. Kyle Johnson coming back in the game, already the point record setter for a single game for London Lightning, 41 points. And Ryan Anderson, who's got to be in the 20s there somewhere for sure. He's made a number of threes today, and from long distance. He reminds me of Rodney Buford, if you remember him. First couple of years of the London Lightning, he could shoot the lights out. Former Philadelphia 76ers player, but he could shoot as well. He couldn't defend maybe quite as well as Ryan Anderson, but he sure could shoot. So Moncton with the ball, a little flash to the sideline. Coming around for Johnson that time. Melvin Johnson the third making that one. He was quiet earlier in the game, but coming now, alive here now. Friesen making the cut to the hoop. Taking his 1-2 steps, trying to keep his control. Moncton comes up with the offensive board. Pass into the corner for Johnson. Takes a long 3, and Joel Friesen all over him waiting for that one. I'm not sure what Johnson was thinking. His teammates were rushing up to help him. Got bailed out that time with the ball going out of bounds on Joel Friesen's block there. In the corner again. Quick release. Unable to convert. And Friesen boxes him out and gets the rebound. 116-79. So London over their scoring average that they have for the year, 112, which is the highest in the league. Johnson again with the ball. He's getting double teamed. Unable to hang on to it. Pushing the ball up is Moncton. Bad miss there that time by Leon Sutton. Didn't use the backboard. This is Herring. So it's becoming a little more fragmented, I would say, on both sides of the ball. London slowing it down a little bit here now. Trying to calls him for that's the first time London steps on the sideline. Just unable to keep his balance that time. He knew where it was. Well, you were right. I think that is a interesting point to make. Well, the sidelines are very thin band of painted line, and not like your usual wide ones that you see. There's Russell Bird on the stepping out of the side as well. Well, it's become a familiar refrain tonight. So the London Lightning have 2 back-to-back games next week, I believe, against the Niagara River Lions. That is, well, we were thinking it's going to become a rivalry, but it's been sort of after the first game where Niagara sort of shocked to London on Boxing opening day here. It's been really a runaway for the London Lightning the last 4 games, and Niagara's going to be in tough next week with those back-to-back games with Logan Stutz out with on injured reserve. And we're not sure what his injury is exactly. We didn't know at the last few plays in London here last week. He did hurt his shoulder, it looked like.
He definitely injured something there, yeah. It almost looked like he had it in a sling at the end of that game there.
Yeah, I think he might have jammed his shoulder or something. So Niagara will be shorthanded next week without him. They
did have a heck of a pickup, though. They picked up, I believe it's Nadir Thorpe. I hope I'm saying that right. Former Kansas Jayhawk, who's was a very accomplished college player and was playing in the D-League, too. And he was the guy that they have picked up to replace Stutz. So, I mean, he's nobody's Logan Stutz, but a very interesting pickup who hopefully is Nadir Thorpe, pardon me. So hopefully he'll be an interesting pickup that can help the team and help the River Lions stay competitive without him, because London and Niagara has been one heck of a rivalry, and those are 2 teams that really battle it out, and it's going to be a heck of an initiation to the NBLC to have to play London back-to-back.
Yeah, I know you say rivalry because we have played them, so London has played them so often, but on the court, it's been going all London's way the last few games. But 2 big games again next week. London is 10-3, soon to be 11-3, be on a 7-game winning streak. They are the only team in this conference here that are above 500 in wins. And I think there are only 2 teams in the East that are above 500 in wins as well. So we'll have to see how that plays out over the season. Seems like there's 2. Well, we know Halifax and London right now are the top 2 teams in the league. St. John Riptide are not far behind, and after that, it seems to be quite a big drop-off after that. And everybody else is sort of splitting the games with each other, hence their 500 record or below. I think that timeout sort of helped London get a little bit organized in their offense. Friesen, nice control as well, drives to the hoop after the 3-point fake, but that was after 3 or 4 passes. So Sutton again with the ball, throwing the ball in the corner. Boy, Johnson, he just got a green light. That time he makes it. He felt comfortable that time in that catch and shoot. The defender did not rotate to him quick enough. He's taking an awful lot of threes. Friesen with a quick 3. Unable to convert. And that's Criswell coming from behind for that rebound. I think he got pushed. That's a foul away from the ball on Kyle Johnson. We did not see that one. So Sutton getting a lot of playing time here again in this 4th quarter. Throws the ball in the corner. While we know Johnson's going to shoot, I think Friesen needs to stay close to him. That ball was up in the air as soon as he caught it. Not quite Del Curry-ish like, but almost as quick. Did you see that Del Curry shot?
That was a heck of a shot. Showed his son what's up.
With his suit on from the scorer's table, banks it off the board. And then his son goes and has 11 triples in that game. That's quite a story with that family. Did I ever tell you that story where he was when he lived in Toronto? That's Curry I'm talking about with his dad, and his dad played for Toronto. He was playing traveling ball for a Toronto team. I think he was about, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 or 11 years old, somewhere in that age.
And was he the best shooter on the team?
And he was playing with 14-year-olds at the time. And they came to London for OBA tournament down at St. John, or John Paul, and we were televising that for Rogers at the time. And boy, oh boy, he was small, skinny, but that guy could launch the ball from 2 or 3 steps beyond the 3-point line already at age 10 or 11.
Jeez.
With great form, not necessarily making them all the time, and with no fear of shooting either. But he was playing an age group ahead of him, and sure enough, the one game he got on fire and he made 4 or 5 3-pointers. You could already see then, boy, he's got his dad's form and stroke already. Will he have enough bulk and talent to get to the NBA? And of course, 10 years later, you see it. That absolutely best player in the NBA for shooting, that's for sure. That time, remember that game, that John Paul, watching him at that time. Criswell with some contact. His teammates are going crazy on the sideline. That's nice to see when your players on your team that have a lot of playing time are cheering for a player that doesn't necessarily get a lot of playing time. And Criswell playing hard, taking it hard to the hoop, and a steal here by Doug Herring Jr. Now the game is getting out of hand here.
Julian Boyd and Garrett Williamson booing him for not dunking it.
Now we got a little over 5 minutes here left in this 4th quarter. It's going to be been a long night for Moncton. Again, a long 3-pointer that time. My goodness, Melvin Johnson shooting from anywhere on the court. Any open look. He's made a few of them as well. 126-89. This is Johnson throwing the ball back out to the teammate. They definitely want Johnson to have the ball. He drives to the hoop. No, there's a late foul call. That should have been a foul called as well. Johnson trying to extend the scoring record for the London Lightning individual game. He's getting playing time for it as well, and his teammates are looking for him. So he's on the foul line for 2. I'm not sure who the foul was charged to that time, but either way, Johnson's shooting 2. So I'm sure we'll read about it online on the papers tomorrow about him setting the record. A lot of contributions from his teammates, but really he was on fire there for quite a stretch. He could not seem to miss.
Well, now I'm trying to think if he's actually making an assault on some of the league records. I believe the record's 56 by Devin Sweetney.
Oh, yes.
I don't think he's quite going to get there, but
I remember sweetening.
this time.
Yeah. Moncton with the ball down in the corner. Another three-point attempt. And that was Leon Sutton. So live and die by three-pointers. So they died for the first three quarters, and here they're living by the third one, but the game is out of reach. Nice backdoor cut. Again, a nice soft touch that time by Marvin Singleton. That's Cordell Jonty. Wow, good ball control on that catch. That was a tough catch. Good finish. Herring Jr. up top. Looking for Johnson. Throwing it in the corner to Friesen. He keeps his feet in play. And he makes a three. That was for behind the backboard, I think, Chris.
That was impressive right there.
He definitely made sure his feet stayed in bounds.
Gotta watch those heels on these lines.
Yes. I'm not sure what the highest scoring game is for the London Lightning, but 133 must be getting close. In the corner for Russell Bird, driving to the hoop. Great defense by Singleton, staying with him all the way to the basket, challenging that shot, even though the game is way out of reach. Still playing hard on defense. Kicking the ball out to Criswell. Can he make a three? And he does. Boy, it's contagious. All the shooting from the London Lightning. Everybody's making their shots.
And someone just got teed up there. I think Criswell just got teed up.
For a little too much celebration, maybe?
I
think he's celebrating because he doesn't make that many threes or get many chances to shoot threes.
Well, I'll double check, but that might have been his only like second or third three-pointer of the year. He really doesn't shoot a ton of them.
Yes, the technical was on Criswell, probably for over-exuberance. I don't think he was really doing taunting, but in the opinion of the ref, it was just too much celebration.
Well, when the score is 136-95, the refs are going to be a little more sensitive to it.
I agree with that, yeah. This is Bird way up top. Lots of time to shoot. Unable to convert. And Johnson bringing the ball down the floor again, trying to split the double team. He does. That's an extra step, I believe. That'll be a travel.
London's best chicken wings are at the Bull and Barrel. Enjoy all you can eat wings every Tuesday from 4 to 9 at the Bull and Barrel, located at 359 Talbot Street, next door to Budweiser Burgers.
Well, we know that Scoop Jardine played a lot of minutes earlier, so he's been sitting on the bench, and Sutton's been doing the primary ball handling here. Our first look really at Jamal Gatali. And he takes a jump shot on him to convert. Singleton with the rebound. And he's bringing the ball up the floor. Is he taking it to the hoop as well? Every one of them's taking it to the hoop. And Singleton, the 11th man off the bench, takes a nice strong route to the hoop, able to finish. Step back jump shot, unable to convert, was Johnson. He was feeling it. He's made a couple of those long threes. Herring keeping the ball in play. Criswell again, a long three, unable to convert. Looks like everybody's got a green light to shoot whenever they want. Nice no-look pass by Malik Story. Bird unable to hang on to it. This is Johnson taking it to the hoop, unable to convert. Look at a great foul. Followed by Anthony Criswell off the backboard. Running the floor with his teammate.
Well, I mentioned that they have to be careful not to take their feet off the gas. I don't think that's really been the problem here for the London Lightning.
Well, this is Gatali again, looking backdoor. This is Story in the corner, unable to convert. And Singleton again doing a good job boxing out Cordell Jonty for that rebound. Singleton's been productive when he's been on the floor on his limited minutes.
Should point out Cal Johnson's actually broken 50 points. He's at 51 now.
Singleton, deep post in there, unable to convert. He's broken 50 points, is that what you said?
Yes, it is.
Well, let's look for that storyline at the end of the last 2 minutes here. I think you said 56 was the league best. So Singleton at the line, makes that one as well.
I gotta think part of the reason they've left Johnson in so long is they want him to take a run at it.
Yes, I do agree with that. Singleton makes both of his foul shots. 142-95. This is Herring, a little bit outsized here by Malik Story. A little holding foul that time. That's their 5th team foul, so still not shooting yet are the Moncton Miracles. I think Herring's coming out. And Junior Cadogan coming in. No, it looks like Tyler Johnson. Cadogan coming in for Kyle Johnson. And his teammates are doing the wave to him. Well, that's quite a scoring prowess to get over 50
They're all
points.
bowing down to Kyle Johnson here, and that 51 points gives him a tie with Anthony Anderson of the St. John Millrats, with 51 points being the 2nd highest total ever scored in an NBL Canada game. So, again, just a magnificent performance from Kyle Johnson.
Well, 50 points in any league is good, let alone in the NBL.
Well, Sweetney and Anderson were the only two to ever do it before tonight's performance by Kyle Johnson. So, a really special night. Even if he doesn't score the 50, it's a very special night here in London with the Shine the Light campaign. But Kyle Johnson putting on a show to what's a thinning crowd now, but was at one point a very large crowd we had here in London.
So playing out the last 2 minutes, Cadogan back on the floor with Singleton and Friesen, as well as Criswell taking it to the hoop. Unable to convert, but Friesen picks up the garbage. And a little alley-oop from Cadogan to no else and his partner, Doug Herring Jr.
Lucky they didn't get a tech for that little chest bump at half court, though.
In the corner now inside to Jonty, doing a little bit of the old man move. Bump, throw it over your shoulder.
The little YMCA, the YMCA basketball. Right there.
Is. That's unstoppable if you got good position. So, Jonty getting some playing time here in the 4th quarter. I think that'll be scored at least twice already, if not 3 times. Now at the foul line, and he makes it. So the Miracles do reach the 100-point mark. And, of course, we did say the London Lightning's average in defense is 101. So they're right on the mark for defense out of London, but they are well over the mark on offense. They're at 144. Nice shovel pass. Unable to convert Criswell, but that was a great shovel pass by Singleton to his teammate. He'll be going to the foul line. So did you find out what the highest scoring game is for the London Lightning?
I do not have that. I apologize.
Do not have that at the moment? Okay. 144's got to be around there. Certainly a night for scorers tonight, at least on the London side. Sort of feed off each other when one guy's hot, and everybody else sort of catches fire. Criswell getting some points here also in his playing time, makes both of those foul shots. Johnson, Melvin Johnson that is, for Moncton, bringing the ball up. Guarded by Herring. Throws the ball over to Bird. And to me, that looks like his comfort zone there, off the back of the rim that time. But Bird, some shooting woes tonight for him. He has lots of open looks. This is Junior Cadogan with the ball up top, being guarded by Johnson. He's going to pull back for a three-pointer, unable to convert. Bird gets the rebound. Last few possessions here in the game. This is Johnson. Alley-oop. Bird almost does it one-handed, unable to hold on to it. Singleton with the ball. This should be the last, pretty well the last possession. Both shot clock and score clock are pretty well the same. Singleton up top. Throws the ball up quickly for the Moncton Miracles.
Before we finish this
Malik
off, John,
Story.
I found out what you were looking for. 153 is the highest franchise total for points in a game,
Wow.
so not quite.
Not quite
But-
there, but a lot of big numbers tonight. Big numbers in the crowd, big numbers on the floor, big numbers on the scoreboard. 146-102, London Lightning over the Moncton Miracles. So, London goes to 11-3, Moncton to 3-9. Any final thoughts there, Chris?
I think the score says just about everything that I could possibly say in that. Just a magnificent performance by the London Lightning on a very important night, and it was most impressive because despite that lead, it was a minute one to the end effort from the London Lightning. They played a complete game, start to finish, and just a great performance.
Okay, so that's it for John Mahone and Chris Croucher here at the Budweiser Gardens. London Lightning 146, Moncton Miracles 102, and we'll bring it over to Aaron for the final wrap-up.
And the final score, 146-102. London Lightning, they never look back. And now we quickly look at the records. London Lightning, they win their 7th in a row, and they also win their 7th straight at Budweiser Gardens this year. They move up to 11-3 overall. The Moncton Miracles, they drop to 3-9. They haven't won a game on the road once again, and they still have their struggles, but they have to find some answers quickly because they're in Kitchener-Waterloo tomorrow, and they have lost their 3rd in a row. Welcome once again to the Knockstrom postgame. This is Aaron Sanders, and not a lot to say considering Kyle Johnson has had a field day. Dax stats are not working at the present time. You will see it soon enough when this telecast is over, but believe me, if you've seen it for yourself, then you can tell you got to give him the game ball because he put on a really great performance. Even when Julian and Royce's performance was lacking tonight, Kyle Johnson knew he had to get it done. The backcourt had to get it done, and they delivered it with style. Speaking of style, you saw that Anthony Criswell throw down on the left wing, so that's another top center for you to consider. That was the player of the game for me. We quickly go over to the out-of-town scores, and the Windsor Express and Niagara River Lions. It's a close one down to the 4th quarter. We don't have the score for you, unfortunately, but it is a close one. We go to the Island Storm, the Cape Breton Highlanders. The Island Storm bounced back from the team who gave them their first home loss, the Cape Breton Highlanders. They won 112-95. Jahai Carson led with 30 points and 5 assists, so hats off to him. And the final game we have on the docket, the Halifax Hurricanes did it again, 110-93. The Riptide dropped 2 straight at the Harbor Station, 2 straight overall. Of course, they have to find some answers, but you see, it wasn't a bad Saturday night at all right here. Now, I mentioned there were some records right at the top. I mentioned how their records were overall, the Miracles and the Lightning. But let me tell you this. The Lightning were very close. They were flirting with an all-time score-high record here in the NBL Canada. They scored 146 tonight, as you can see. The record is when they beat the Oshawa Power back in 2012 with 153 points. They were 7 points shy of breaking it. But regardless, if you look at the tiebreakers and the points per game they score, you better believe it's going to skyrocket based on that performance. So, record or not, it was a really great game, and safe to say, it was a good performance once again. We'll quickly go up to the schedule right now. Like I said, we'll go to Kitchener-Waterloo tomorrow afternoon, and then London, they could sit back and relax because they don't have to play until Tuesday night where they travel the Meridian Center to play against the Niagara River Lions. Next time, Knockstrom.tv will be with you. Will be this Wednesday, the Clash of the Coliseum, the 4th annual Clash of the Coliseum, where the Windsor Express will play the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans. And it's going to be a while for the London Lightning until they play here at Guns once again. Their next game will be on Family Day. That will be a 2 o'clock afternoon tip where they play against the defending champions, the Halifax Hurricanes. So tune into that. We hope to see you on Wednesday at Caesars Coliseum down at Windsor. For now, we are out of here. Final score, Lightning 146, Moncton Miracles 102. London Lightning still at the top of the Central Division with no end in sight. All right, we'll see you Wednesday. This has been a presentation of Knockstrom Digital Media, producing the media excellence in Southern Ontario. This is Aaron Sanders saying so long from the Forest City.